Dear students, welcome you all for the second session of the third chapter of Goods and Service Tax, 6th semester Mangalore University BCom. So in this session, we are going to discuss scope of supply. So my presentation for this session will be meaning of supply, then elements or scope of or items covered under supply. So what is supply? We have already discussed the meaning of supply in the previous sessions, but again let us discuss. So supply is a buzzword in the entire GST because the GST is charged on the supply. Now what is this supply? So supply includes everything. So let's see, understand the meaning of supply. So according to section 7 subsection 1 of the GST Act, supply includes sale, transfer, exchange, barter, license, rental, lease and disposal. So that means all these terminologies are included. So if you are doing any or if you are using any terminology in this in your transaction, then that is considered as supply. So primarily if you are selling anything, if you are transferring anything, or if you are exchanging anything, or if you are exchanging goods under barter system or license, rental, lease, everything is in the purview of meaning of supply. So if a person undertakes either of these transactions, it will be considered as supply. Now let us discuss elements or scope or items covered under supply. So first one is, as per section 7(1) of Goods and Service Tax Act, supply includes what? So first one, all forms of supply of goods or services such as sale, transfer, lease, rental, license, etc. So everything is included. Okay, if you are selling anything, if you are exchanging anything, if you are licensing anything, if you are giving your land and building for rent or machinery for rent, or your land and building for lease or machinery equipment for lease, whatever, or if you are disposing anything, so everything is included in the meaning of supply. Then second one, import of services. Now what is import of service? So import of service means supply of any services where the supply of service is located outside. So supply of a supplier of service is located outside India, he is from other country, but the recipient of the service is located within India. So he is receiving the service and the place of service is within India. So then it is called as import of services. So import of goods is charged under Customs Act, where IGST is charged under Customs Act, but under import of services, GST is charged under as per the IGST Act. Then the third one is activities specified in Schedule 1, that is supply made or agreed to be made without any consideration. So what are those supplies? So in Schedule 1 we can see such transactions such as transaction between related person. So which may be with or without any considerations, or supply of goods through an agent. It is also with or without any consideration, or taxable person importing services from a related person. So if any taxable person importing services from outside India from a related person with or without any consideration, then such activities are included or considered as supply. Then next one, activities specified in schedule second. So that is activities treated as supply of goods and supply of service. So there are certain activities under schedule 2 where there is a specific mention about what it has to be treated, whether it has to be treated as supply of goods or whether it has to be treated as supply of services. So example I will give you. For example, first one, transfer of title to goods. So transfer of title to goods is considered as supply of goods. It is not a supply of service. But if you are transferring the right or share in goods without the transfer of title, then it is considered as supply of service. See, the same, both are same thing. Here you are just transferring the title to goods. That is considered transfer of goods. But if you are transferring the right or share in goods without transferring the title, then it is considered as service. So likewise, land and building. So if you are giving the land for lease or rent or tenant or license, then it is considered as service. It is a supply of service specifically. Then again, if you are leasing or letting the any building for business purpose or commerce purpose, again it is treated as service. Then transfer of business assets. So if the business assets are transferred or disposed by the owner, whether or not for consideration, then it is considered as supply of goods. Okay, but the owner uses for or allows to use business assets for personal use, then it is considered as supply of service. See, both are same things. So in the first case, assets are transferred, then it is treated as supply of goods. But here in the second case, the business assets are used by the owner for personal use, then it is considered as a service. Then the last one is treatment and processes. So any treatment or process applied to any goods or another person's goods shall be considered as supply of service. It is not supply of goods. So this is how what is treated in the second schedule of the GST. Then, so this is what included in the supply of goods. So this is what included in the supply. Now what is excluded from supply? So there is also clarity from the act. So what is excluded from the supply is mentioned in the schedule 3 of the GST Act. So what is that? So first one is employee service under employment agreement. So that is excluded from the supply. Then services by court or tribunal, that is also excluded. Then funeral and related services, that is also excluded from supply. Then sale of land or completed building, so that is also excluded from. There are so many other services which are and also goods which are excluded from the meaning of supply. Then the second one, activities undertaken by central or state government or local authorities in which they are engaged as a public authorities. So if as a public authority, if central government or state government or local government undertakes any activity, any supply, then it is considered as not considered as supply. That is excluded from the meaning of. And the last one is, as per the section 7 subsection 3 of the GST Act, the government may on the recommendation of the GST Council notify or specify the supply of goods and not as supply of services. So they can the government can treat on the recommendation of GST Council or about certain goods as supply of good or supply of services or not as supply of services. So they have the power to treat that. So they can specifically treat this is what supply of good, this is not supply of service. The next one, supply of service and not supply of goods. So they can treat some item or some transaction as supply of service and not supply as goods. So that is as per the recommendations by the GST Council, government can issue the notification treating them as supply of goods. And the last one that is included in the meaning of supply is deemed supply. So what is deemed supply? Okay, it is deemed to be considered as supply. That means you are supplying any goods or services for without any consideration. Then such supply is also considered as supply as per GST Act. So that's the meaning of deemed supply. It means the activities which are considered as supply even if there is no consideration involved in such activity. Then such activity is considered as deemed supply. So what are the example for deemed supply? So there are certain examples. First one is barter system. So under barter system, what do? You exchange the goods for goods. So there is no consideration here. But it is considered as supply under GST. Then permanent transfer of or disposal of business assets. So there is no intention of furtherance of business activity. You are permanently disposing the business assets. So still there is no furtherance of business activities is considered as supply. Then supply of goods or services between related person. Even though you are doing transaction between close relatives or distinct person, then it is also considered as supply. Then supply of goods to his agent. So principal is supplying to his own person, agent. Even though he is supplying to his agent, it is considered as supply. Then agent supplying goods or services to his principal. Now agent is supplying the goods and services to the principal, so to his own person, then it is also considered as supply as per GST. So that's all from this video. Thank you for watching this video.